So I'm going to discuss about Greenland today. I think the whole situation with Greenland is a distraction from domestic affairs. I don't understand why we as a nation, the United States, why we can't just focus on ourselves. I don't understand it, but here we are. And I do think Greenland is a big distraction. And I also think that Venezuela is a big distraction, but I won't digress. But yeah, so the Trump administration is thinking about taking over Greenland. And the administration is also flirting with military intervention, which is not a good idea. I think we should respect our military and value life, and military action should only come as a last resort after we have exhausted all possible means. I don't think this administration has exhausted all of our soft power. Instead, we're talking about military action. But anyway, I think the United States should use diplomacy. And I think Greenland really only has three options. Greenland has a population of 50,000, and it's such a huge country. So realistically, I don't see how Greenland can defend itself from invaders. I just don't see it. But Greenland is part of Denmark as of now, and Denmark is part of NATO. But Greenlanders they want to become more independent. They want to be a sovereign nation, but I don't see that realistically how that's possible. So Greenland only has three options. And so the Trump administration, instead of flirting with military intervention, they should just focus on these three options. The first option is that the United States, Greenland, and Denmark can all be co-rulers of that landmass. Have a government where all three are co-rulers. It's not unprecedented. It's possible. I'm not sure how it can work out, but I think that's an option. All three states can be represented in a form of a government. The second option is, and I think this is the most feasible option, is that Greenland is such a huge landmass. Why not just partition the landmass? Since the United States have such a big issue with Russia invading Greenland or any other country invading Greenland, and we already have a military base in, I'm not sure how you pronounce the name. I think it's Petiful. Petiful. I don't know, but it's in the north parts of Greenland. Why not just partition Greenland, where the United States has sovereignty over the top 45%. That is the northern 45%. Denmark has the mid 30%. And then the Greenlanders, since their capital is in the, I think, lower half of the country, and their population is so small. Why not just have them have their own independent nation in the lower 25%? I think that would benefit everyone. So the United States is satisfied. They don't have to worry about Russia because now they own the northern 45%. Denmark is happy because they have a place in Greenland, even though they don't have a strong presence there. There are not a lot of Danes living in Greenland, but anyway, that's besides the point. And then Greenlanders aren't happy because now they have a sovereign nation and they can govern themselves. They're not going to be dependent on anyone. And the amount of land they have, it kind of suits them. It suits them because their population is so low. And so everyone is happy. The third option is that since Denmark and Greenland is part of NATO, and since the United States is also part of NATO, and the United States is the biggest part of NATO in terms of military strength, in terms of our budget towards the military, why not just have the whole landmass as a NATO territory? Because Greenlanders will benefit from this because, again, they're a small population. They cannot defend themselves from foreign invaders. So I think it would be best to just label the whole thing as a NATO territory. For now, that would be only tentative. So it's not a long lasting solution, but the territory can just be in place temporarily. But I truly believe the second option is the most feasible. Divide Greenland into three parts. The first half being the United States. The second, the mid 30% will be owned by Denmark, and the lower 25% is owned by Greenlanders. Everyone is happy. Again, I think diplomacy and soft power should be exercised first before any talk of military intervention. We really need to respect our military, not just in our country, but all military across the world. And military intervention should be our last resort. Those are just my thoughts. So what do you guys think?